Hey everyone, welcome to Mike's Podcast, Episode 3, and hopefully by Mike's Podcast, Episode 4, I have a better name for this show because, let's be honest, Mike's Podcast is, probably the least creative name ever. But anyway, I come to you guys today with some really shocking news, and obviously if you're reading the title of this video, you already know what it is. Yankees skipper Joe Girardi is out as manager after 10 years, and I'll be honest with you guys, I was shocked when I heard this. I'm someone who historically has been very anti-Girardi. Obviously, you heard my voice in the first video, how angry I was, disgusted at the Knob Gate call. He made decisions that I just don't agree with. But when I look back at the career of Joe Girardi, I can't help but look back with extreme nostalgia. I can't sit here and say I'm happy he's gone. Thank the maker he's out of here. I can't say that because I think he was instrumental in this change from the old guard, the core four, his young guys. I mean, taking a look back at his career in 2008, he inherited this team from Joe Torre, who I view as one of the greatest Yankee managers in history. Won 4 World Series with the team from 96 to 07, made the playoffs, and this is key, every single year that he was here. So every single year I was alive, he made the playoffs, and that's the guy Joe Girardi got the team from. And his first year in '08 was nothing too special. I mean, that was the last year at the old Yankee Stadium. They didn't make the playoffs. First time in my life that didn't happen. And obviously there were some boo birds, some anger towards him. But the next year he bounced back. First year at the new Yankee Stadium. Wins the World Series in '09. And then proceeds to be pretty successful for the first part of the 2010s. Then obviously it's that stretch where he wasn't so successful. But anyway, what I was saying before, when I look back at Joe Girardi, I look at a man who was instrumental at taking the change in dynamic from this Yankee team, from the old guard, from the core four, moving them on to these younger guys we're seeing right now. I think that was instrumental, and Joe Girardi was a big part of that. And now, no matter what you thought of him, no matter if you loved him, no matter if you hated him, despised him, if you thought his in-game coaching was bad, you have to respect that. And I do. And I respect Joe Girardi. And I thank him for the 10 years he was head coach of this team. Am I going to miss him? That's where it gets tough. Obviously, I loved what he did, but there were calls he made, there were decisions he made from a coaching standpoint that I didn't agree with. But it's going to be tough for me to sit here and tell you that the decision to fire him was an easy one, because I don't think it was. Well, they didn't really fire him, they're not re-signing him. So we have to realize, who's next, who's coming next here. Who can possibly replace this man who is so great with these young players? A man that is able to foster such talent and really make it grow. I mean, these players play for him. That's why I think the decision to let him go ultimately is not a great one. Because this is a man who inspires his team. Besides that one game I said, my first video, when they said they weren't playing for him, they bounced back and played for this man. This is a guy who was able to rally his team to come back from a 0-2 deficit in Cleveland and then play 7 great games against Houston. I shouldn't say 7 great games. I mean, 3 great games, I should say. But there's no doubt that this young group plays for Joe Girardi. Now, the question is, can the Yankees bring someone in here who is going to rally that same response? And I don't know if they can. So ultimately, when I think about this decision, I'm not sure if it was the right one. Because I don't see a guy out there who is a clear-cut candidate for this job. I really don't. And to me, if you're the Yankees and you make this decision, and I read their reasoning, but I just find it shocking. When I hear that the Yankees are going to let go of Joe Girardi, that signals to me they're switching mentalities. Joe Girardi was very for the sabermetrics, very for the advanced analytics, and they want to go to a guy who's more old-fashioned. That's what I think. It's the only conceivable reason I can think they fired Joe Girardi. Because it wasn't because it wasn't successful this year, because this year was a huge success. To me, when they make this move, they want to move to a guy who is more old school. So that's what you think. But then I saw on the post this morning, I saw on the website that they want a younger guy, experience not necessary, who is very analytics driven. And to me, why would you fire a guy, or not fire, why would you not bring back a guy who was the best at it in baseball? Let's be honest, Joe Girardi is very good at his job when it comes to that. I mean, if Chase Headley, got 3 hits when it was 72 degrees out, facing a pitcher who recently ate ice cream, Joe Girardi was going to play him because that's what the sabermetrics said. So why would you let Joe Girardi go if the candidate you want is a guy like Joe Girardi? It doesn't make any sense to me. And ultimately, and you can hear my voice, I don't want that guy. To me, I can't give you a name. I can only give you the candidate that I want. And I don't really have a name because I'm hearing guys like Raul Ibanez and guys who never managed before. I mean, I don't know what Raul Ibanez is going to do as manager, but the guy, I mean, so I can't really give you a name, but I can give you my qualifications, what I want. I want a guy who is not as driven by sabermetrics. I want a guy who's going to play the young players that they have and play them rain or shine, lefty, righty, no matter what. Okay? To me, Greg Bird needs to play almost every day next year unless he's hurt, and knock on wood, he doesn't get hurt. He needs to play every day, and I want a manager who's going to allow that. I want a manager who's not going to sit him for Chase Headley when it's a lefty-righty matchup because that's more efficient for him. I think that's ridiculous. This is a team that needs to foster its growth, and they need a manager who is going to allow that. They also need they also need a guy, hopefully, who doesn't make this lineup pretty silly. I'm sorry, I'm losing my train of thought. Who makes a better lineup than I thought Joe Girardi did. I thought his lineup, the decisions were not great. You heard my voice. I didn't like Aaron Judge hitting second. To me, Aaron Judge and Greg Bird should hit back-to-back. I think those are two. That is the thunder and lightning. Those are two guys, big lefty bat, big righty bat. They need to hit back-to-back. And I want the next Yankee head coach to do that. I keep saying head coach, manager. My mind's on football. I want to talk football with you guys, trust me. But, when stuff like this happens, I can't. So that's what I want. I want a guy who's going to rally these young players, who's going to play them. And I want a guy who's going to do better with this lineup, who's going to make a more efficient lineup. And I know a lot of sabermetrics nowadays say you want your best hitter hitting two, but to me that makes no sense. When you have Aaron Judge hitting 52 home runs and striking out 200 times in the two-hole, it makes no sense to me. So those are my candidates for the Yankee head coach. And ultimately, at the end of the day, I am sorry to see Girardi leave. I really thought he did a great job with his team. Forget the decision with the knob gate. Forget that. This is not a decision that was based off that. This is a decision by a Yankee front office that I think was probably a long time coming. I mean, they probably decided at the beginning of this year they weren't going to re-sign him this year. Because I don't think you can look at this year and say this is the reason he's not coming back. The Yankees not winning the World Series this year is not why he's not coming back. But I just hope that the next guy they bring in here can somehow do a good job at rallying these young players, because they're at a very, very sensitive spot right now with this youth. They need a guy who is going to allow the players to play for him, and I hope they bring him in. Don't know who it is. I gave you my credentials. I feel like the little kids with Mary Poppins. This is the list I want. These are the candidates I want in a head coach. Whoever it is, I don't care what his name is, bring him in here and coach this team. Because it's a very fragile state for the Yankees right now, because this could be a big turning point. Because you look at this decision, it's a lot like 95 with the Yankees. The decision to fire Buck Showalter or Joe Girardi. Is this a decision that, allows for a head coach who's going to come in, take charge, and really lead these players? Which would be which would mean that Girardi is the last step from this team being successful. Or are they going to hire a man who's going to come in here and just not be effective at it? And to me, that's a waste. That's going to put this team behind schedule. Again, this is a team that's expected to win 2019. They bring another guy in here who's going to act like that, who's not going to be able to rally these players. It's going to be a dry spell for this team. But anyway, guys, thank you so much for tuning in. I promise you that the next video will be the NFL, unless something dramatic happens. I do want to get some NFL in here. I'm planning on doing an NFL, my 3 surprising teams, 3 disappointing teams, a state of the Cowboys, and then coming up my next Yankee video, and I really hope to have a very special guest on for that show, is going to be sometime in November, where we talk about free agency, players want to come in here and make some changes. So look forward to that. And again, hopefully by episode 4, I have some kind of name for this channel. Thank you guys so much, and have a great rest of the day.